If you found yourself wondering why there's so many people looking at their phones, maybe even more than usual, there's a reason. It's because of a brand new game that just came out. You've probably heard people talking about it. That game is called Pokemon Go. And if you have no idea what a Pokemon is, or why this application is so popular, then you found the right video. Because this video is going to be a comprehensive look at exactly what Pokemon Go is, and how to play it, and become a master trainer. Let's Pokemon Go!
You're watching Dynamite TV.
What are Pokemon, you might say? Pokemon started out as a manga, which is basically a Japanese comic book, which later became an animated series, which then later also made its way to America, and spawned many games on the Nintendo consoles. Pokemon is short for Pocket Monsters, and in this fictitious series, they're much like wild animals, except they're wild animals that have special powers. And so people catch them using things called Pokeballs, and make them stronger by training them so that they can battle with other trainers and become a Pokemon master. Yes, I know that probably sounds a little barbaric, but come on, it's a fictitious world, and it's a cartoon. Let's get past that. Now, Pokemon Go is an augmented reality game that allows you to essentially live the life of a trainer. Wikipedia says, and I quote, is a free-to-play, location-based augmented reality mobile game developed by Niantic, which allows players to capture, battle, and train with virtual creatures called Pokemon. And it makes use of the GPS and camera of compatible devices. Every single year, augmented reality is becoming more interesting, and the way that this application uses it allows you to feel as if the Pokemon is really right in front of you. As I said, the game was developed by a company called Niantic. Niantic is a sister company of Google, and the Pokemon franchise is partly endorsed by Nintendo. What makes this game so exciting is not only the fact that millennials have been waiting for this sort of opportunity for a long time, but also that it gets people out exercising. And not only that, it gets people out of the house to play a video game. Furthermore, there's a very social aspect to it. Upon my adventures with the game, I've met a lot of people, also made a lot of friends, and it's also created a really cool community. Now beyond that, this game has done things that were previously unimaginable, practically overnight. You can find out more about that in my other video where I talk about the groundbreaking overnight accomplishments of Pokemon Go. Now, enough introduction. The first time you log in, the game will prompt you to either create a Pokemon trainer account, or by logging into your Gmail and linking your profile to that account. Personally, I recommend going through the Gmail route. And if you would prefer it not be linked to your main Gmail, you can always go make a new Gmail account and use that one. Navigating the interface. Let's take a quick look at the screen, and I'll explain everything you need to know there before we move on. Upon reaching the home screen, you'll see a number of icons that you can touch. The first one I'll talk about is the avatar. That's because after you sign in and put in your birthday, you'll be asked to make an avatar that you can customize. Currently, you can't change the outlook of your character. However, I do hope that you can change things like that in the future. If you want to know more about things I hope to see come to Pokemon Go, check out this video. So for now, make sure that you choose exactly what you want. When you click the avatar's face in the lower left-hand corner, what you'll see here first is your name, your character, your level, and how much experience points you'll need to level up to the next, as well as a little coin with Pikachu's face on it, the date you started playing, and later on in the game, once you reach level 5, you'll be prompted to choose a team, and the crest of your team will be on the right-hand side of the date that you started. There's also a button that you can click that says Journal. This will log up to 30, I believe, things that happen in the game, such as when you receive items, catch a Pokemon, evolve a Pokemon, or when an egg hatches, and etc. You can also scroll down to reveal a whole mess of badges to collect. And as you progress through the game, you will be rewarded badges as achievements. Now, if you click the little X icon, clicking on the Pokeball icon in the middle reveals a number of things that you can do. Let's start with the one that says Pokedex. Think of this almost like an encyclopedia. When you catch a wild Pokemon or see one for your first time, it'll be logged into the Pokedex. Once you've caught it, you can click on the icon of it and be able to read all sorts of things about it. It will also tell you how many you've seen versus how many you've caught. You can also swipe up to reveal its evolution. You might notice that it mentions a type. Types are important because some types are stronger against other types, and vice versa. If we click the X now, it will once again bring us back to the home screen. And if we click the Pokeball again, and then click on the icon on the left that says Pokemon, it will reveal a roster of all the Pokemon that we've caught. Not only that, it also shows us what eggs we've acquired from Pokestops. By default, you can only hold 250 Pokemon at a time. I'll show you a way a little bit later how you can increase that number by 300. You can scroll up and down as you collect more and more Pokemon. Swiping to the left reveals how many eggs you have and which ones are incubating. There are 3 different types of eggs. The 3 types of eggs are dependent upon how far you have to walk in order for them to hatch. In order to hatch an egg, you must put it in an incubator. By default, you're given 1 incubator that you can use infinitely. As you level up, you'll gain more items, and one of those items will be an incubator that you can use up to 4 times. By clicking on the egg, you'll be prompted to start an incubation. and then just get walking. That's all there is to it. A little tip for you would be this. Because there's 3 different types of eggs, 2 kilometers, 5 kilometers, and 10 kilometers, I highly recommend that with the incubators that you only have 4 uses, to put the eggs that take the longest to hatch inside of, in order to get more mileage out of them. And another tip for you is if you can help it, try to save your 10 kilometer eggs for when you reach level 20, because when it hatches, it'll be really, really strong. The reason there's different types of eggs, by the way, is that the 10 kilometer eggs will hatch rare Pokemon, whereas the 2 kilometer eggs will hatch much less rare Pokemon. However, even a 2 kilometer egg will still hatch the starter Pokemon, and I'll talk about that more later. Swiping back to the right to get back over to where you see the Pokemon, if you click on one of them, there's a range of things to see. This screen tells you all about the Pokemon that you have, as well as its attacks, where you caught it, when you caught it, and lots of other things. So let's talk about its stats. Above the Pokemon, you'll see the 2 letters CP. This stands for Combat Power. Consider it the overall level of this Pokemon and how strong it is. You can click the outline of the star in the top right corner in order to favor it, and I'll tell you what I use that for later. Clicking on the little pencil icon next to its name will allow you to give it a special name if you'd like. Below that, you'll see the word Stardust and Candy. Stardust is needed in order to power up your Pokemon, and you can get more by catching Pokemon. Every monster has its own specific candy, which is also necessary when you power it up, as well as when you evolve it. Except when you evolve it, no Stardust is necessary. When you power up a Pokemon, it raises not only their hit points, which are much like its lifespan, but it also increases its combat power, which will be useful when you start to battle. Evolving a Pokemon is something that you want to do, because not only will it become stronger, it will gain better attacks, and also fill out your Pokédex more. Speaking of attacks, right below the buttons to evolve and power up the Pokemon, you'll see 2 different words that represent battle attacks. The top one is its main attack, while the bottom one is its special attack, which will need to power up in battle. The way that you power up your special attack in battle is by making multiple successful hits until that little bar fills up. The next thing you'll see is when you caught the Pokemon, as well as where you caught it. And finally, you'll see a button that says Transfer. When you transfer a Pokemon to Professor Willow, who you met at the very beginning, he will in turn give you a candy specific to that Pokemon. Transferring Pokemon is usually when you have duplicates. Choose carefully which one you want to keep, and transfer the rest for candies so that you can evolve the one you want to keep. Some of the things to consider when deciding on which one to keep would be the combat power and also the strength of its special attack. Another thing to consider is if you see a little XL above the height and weight, it's been said that that means that Pokemon's a little bit stronger. However, I'm not entirely sure on that. So always remember to catch everything you come across if you can, because you can always take those duplicates and transfer them to the professor for candies. Clicking the X brings us back to the roster of all the Pokemon that we own. In the bottom right hand corner, you'll notice a little button. If you click it, you'll see a range of different ways to sort all of the Pokemon that you have in your storage. Recent will categorize them by when you caught them. Favorite will categorize them by which ones have a star next to them. The number icon will arrange them by where they reside in the Pokedex. I especially enjoy this one because it puts all of the duplicates together, which is extremely helpful when you're trying to decide which one to keep and which ones to transfer. HP will arrange them by hit points, strongest to weakest. Obviously, name will arrange them alphabetically, and obviously CP will arrange them by their combat power, from the largest to the smallest. Now if we back out of there, and also if we back out of the storage, and then click on the Pokeball icon once more, we can then click on the icon on the right called Items. Consider this like your backpack holding all of the items that you can use along your adventure. Your backpack can hold 350 items, however I will tell you in a moment how you can increase that to 400. To see all of the items you have, just scroll up and down. You'll notice the trash can icon on the right hand side. If your bag becomes full, this icon is helpful because it will allow you to discard items. Now let's talk about the different items. Potions will heal your Pokemon when it loses hit points in battle. As you level up, you'll also get Super Potions, Hyper Potions, and Max Potions. And the only difference is the amount of points it actually restores to your Pokemon. Revives are used when your Pokemon faints in battle instead of just losing some hit points. Not only that, but it will also raise up its hit points back to about halfway. The next item is the Pokeball. The Pokeball is used to catch wild Pokemon. As you level up, you'll also be able to get Great Balls, Ultra Balls, and finally Master Balls. And the difference between them is the catch rate. A much stronger Pokeball will ensure that you'll actually lock in that harder to catch Pokemon. Up next, you'll see Lucky Eggs. Lucky Eggs are an item that you can employ that will give you double the amount of experience points every time you earn any for 30 minutes. In my video about pro tips, I'll talk about when a Lucky Egg is best used. Up next, we have Incense. Incense is another item that can be used for 30 minutes that will attract Pokemon to you more frequently. One of the things to know though If you're out adventuring with friends, occasionally the incense will cause a Pokemon to spawn that no one else will see, and only you will be able to catch. The next item down are called lore modules. These can be placed onto Pokestops. A Pokestop is a place where you can receive free items, but when a lore module is placed on it, it increases the chance of a rare Pokemon to pop up. Let's say you find multiple Pokestops near each other. If you were to put lures on all of them, the results are very exciting. I'm almost positive that lures only last for 30 minutes, just like the other items. And I know that the more people that are around them, the more likely something interesting will pop up. Later on, when you level up, you'll receive raspberries. These are said to make it easier to catch a Pokemon by bringing its threat level down a little bit. I haven't seen the greatest results using these just yet, but perhaps it's just something wrong with the server that they need to fix. One of the things I will say is occasionally after using a raspberry, when you try to throw a Pokeball straight on, it might curve on its own. In my video about pro tips, I'll teach you exactly what to do if that starts to happen. The camera is an item that you'll never be able to discard, and all it really does is give you a chance to screenshot what you found before you catch it. It will then save it in your camera roll inside of your phone, for you to share on social media or send to someone in a message to let them know where you found it or what you got. And finally, we have egg incubators. I've already mentioned before that there's two different kinds of incubators. The blue ones only give you 4 uses, and the orange one you get in the beginning of the game has an infinite amount of uses. Now that we've talked about those items, maybe you've ran out of Pokeballs. Well, if you click on the X icon and then click on the Pokeball again, you'll see an icon that says Shop right below the Pokedex. Here in the shop, you can use real money to purchase what are called Pokecoins, which is just the digital currency within the game that allows you to buy items. To obtain coins, just scroll down to the bottom and choose how many you want. You'll be prompted to choose a payment method, and once the transaction is complete, you can then use the coins that you just purchased in order to get items. You'll notice all of the items that I explained a moment ago, and you can even get package deals of those items if you would like. However, you'll notice 2 more that I didn't mention, but I told you I was going to. Those would be the bag and storage upgrade. By purchasing these, it will increase the amount of either the items that you can carry or the amount of Pokemon you can carry by 50. And for a total of $4, that's not a bad deal. Now, you'll also notice a shield icon up in the top right corner. That shield icon is what's called a defender bonus. Once you reach level 5, you'll be able to compete in gyms. And once you overthrow a gym, you can then take it over and put your own Pokemon in there to defend it. For every Pokemon you have defending a gym, will increase the number on the shield. And once every 20 hours, you'll be able to collect a bonus of some Stardust and also 10 Pokecoins. This is one of the few ways to actually get Pokecoins for free without spending any real money. When you're on the internet, don't fall victim to any scams that might be offering you free Pokecoins. I talk about this a lot more in another video that you can check out up here in the top right corner. Alright, let's click the X and then click the Pokeball again, and check out the Settings tab up in the top right corner. Here you'll see a range of options of things that you can toggle on and off, such as the music and sound effects, and also the vibration, as well as a battery saving mode, which when your phone is in your pocket, it will shut down the screen while still being active. And you can also choose whether or not you want emails sent to you about new news and things of that nature. Some other things you can click on inside of the settings tab is a quick start, which will tell you just some simple things about the game. However, it doesn't really tell you much, as well as a help center if you need some troubleshooting, and also a place where you can report a problem such as a bug or a glitch in the game. And finally, a little bit about Pokemon Go, and the option to sign out. Underneath the settings icon, you'll also notice a thing that says tips, in which Professor Willow will tell you a little bit about the game. However, I have to say, I think one of the things that I really enjoy about this game is that it doesn't really tell you a whole lot. It merely just tells you enough to get started, which is great because then when you meet other people that are playing, you can teach each other new things. So many conversations are initiated by telling each other advice and giving each other tips, and I just think that's great. It kind of reminds me of the line in the song that goes, which is why I felt compelled to make this video all along. Now, if we go back out to the home screen, the only thing left to cover is down in the bottom right-hand corner. You'll notice 3 different Pokemon in the little box. This is the first incarnation of the tracking system that we'll be seeing. Clicking on the box will show you what Pokemon are nearby and how far away they are by the number of footprints underneath them. When you first start playing, a lot of them will just be silhouettes that are grayed out. You can't actually see what they look like, and this is because you haven't caught them yet. Later on in the game, you'll come across the same ones, and you'll be able to see which ones they are. The footprints were meant to represent distance, we believe. 3 footprints meaning 300 meters, 2 footprints roughly 200 meters, 1 footprint meaning roughly 100 meters, and if there's no footprints, it's probably going to pop up on your map, and then you'll feel a vibration on your phone, and possibly even a noise. However, as of lately, the tracking system has not really been working all that well, and that's probably because of all of the servers that they're adding to the game and all of the new countries that are first now getting to play it. And while, yes, this is frustrating, it's kind of okay because that tracking system is just going to get way, way better as time goes on. If you saw the actual trailer that came out last year, the tracking system may very well become way intelligent. Who knows? I almost forgot to mention the compass in the top right corner. When you click on it, it will realign your viewpoint towards north. Also, occasionally you might even see a little icon on the left-hand side of a Pokeball spinning. What this means is that your game is loading. So sometimes it helps to just wait it out until it's done spinning. So now that you understand completely how to navigate your way through the interface, it's time now to go on your first adventure, and let's talk about when you catch your very first Pokemon, your starter Pokemon, right after this message. Hey guys, don't forget I just opened up a Twitch channel recently in which I'll be doing Q&As and working on my videos so you get an inside look at what it is that I do. Check out the link in my description for more information.
For more videos, subscribe here.
So now it's time to gear up for your first adventure and catch them all. But first, here's a couple things you might want to do. Make sure your GPS is on so that you're already located within the game. Also, make sure that you wear comfortable shoes. You might do a lot of walking. It never hurts to have a mobile battery cell, one of those portable chargers, and maybe even some water too. Don't forget to make sure that your phone is charged all the way. If you want to know more about different items that might be good to bring with you, you can check out this video by clicking the thing in the top right corner. Once you head outside, the first thing that'll happen is 3 different Pokemon will pop up. A Charmander, a Squirtle, and a Bulbasaur. However, I'll let you in on a little Easter egg you may not know. If you don't click on any of those Pokemon and wait around long enough, then a 4th option will pop up, and it's a Pikachu. To catch your first Pokemon, just click on it on the screen. Choose wisely as this will be your starter Pokemon, and after you catch it and go back to the home screen, the other ones will disappear. If your phone is compatible, then you'll be using the Augmented Reality function by default. It will use arrows on the sides of the screen in order to help you aim at it and show you which direction it's in. However, if you look in the top right corner, you'll see an option to turn the Augmented Reality off. Also, if your phone is not compatible, it will ask you if you want to turn it off, in which case you should, otherwise you won't see the Pokemon. Personally, I prefer having the Augmented Reality option off, and I'll tell you why. When it's on, you kind of have to just stay right there where you're standing. However, with it toggled off, once you have clicked on the Pokemon, you can continue walking and keep traveling if you want to. So now it's time to throw a Pokeball and actually catch it. If you've ever played paper toss, or maybe beer pong, or perhaps ever just thrown anything into a trash can, then you're already halfway there. Put your finger on the Pokeball and slide it forward either as hard or as little as you think will actually make the distance. Now you'll probably notice some information around the Pokemon, such as a white ring, a colored ring that moves, and also the name of it, and how much combat power it has, but let's focus on that colored ring that oscillates. There was some misinformation going around, which originally said that you want to wait until that ring is as small as it can possibly be. However, that proved to be untrue. If you want to know about more misinformation in the Pokemon world, you can check out this video right here. The true way to do it, as far as I can tell, is you actually want the ring to line up with the white ring. You'll know you definitely did it correctly if it says something like great, or nice, or sometimes excellent. And assuming that you catch it, you'll actually get a little bit more of an experience bonus because of that nice throw. Now let's talk about the color. At first, you'll probably only see green rings, or maybe a yellow one. The color will range anywhere from green to red, and everything in between, such as yellow and orange. What this actually represents is its threat level, meaning how difficult it's going to be to catch. So don't get discouraged if your first throw doesn't work and it pops back out. Now once you get a little better and more confident at throwing these Pokeballs, you can even throw a curveball, in which I talk about in this video right here. Curveballs also give you a little bit of an experience bonus. Some of the other icons you might notice while you're on the screen to catch something is a button up in the top left corner, which will allow you to run from it if you don't want to catch it or if you ran out of Pokeballs. Then you'll also notice a camera option, which will let you snap a picture of it and share it to friends. And finally, you can open your bag and use items while you're trying to catch something, such as a raspberry to make its threat level go down. However, you don't have access to raspberries until you reach a certain level. So for now, you don't have to worry about it. So congratulations, you just caught your first Pokemon. Now what? Well, touching on what I said before, you can use your nearby tracking function in the bottom right hand corner to see what's nearby and start walking around and see if you can find it. One way to know perhaps which direction to go is to look for rustling leaves on the screen. It's said that this is possibly somewhere where there might be a Pokemon. Remember that the environment that you're walking around will dictate what kind of Pokemon you find. Pokemon that are of the normal type, or perhaps flying, or even bugs, you might find most likely in the grass. Whereas if you happen to find yourself around a body of water, you could find some water Pokemon. It's also said that it's possible to find fire Pokemon near gas stations. That sounds dangerous. In the near future, I plan to make a more comprehensive list of where you can find specific types. Until then, happy hunting. Now, if you don't want to spend any money in the game, you can always stop at Pokestops, which are landmarks on your map. When interacted with, these landmarks will drop items, such as Pokeballs, as well as potions and other things. A Pokestop on your map looks like a blue icon. When you get within a certain range of it, you'll be able to interact with it. Just click on it. From there, all you have to do is click on the blue icon and then swipe your finger across the circle with the picture in it. This will make it spin and it will drop some items for you. From there, you can either click on the items, or to do it even faster, you can just press the X button and they'll drop directly into your backpack. After that, the Pokestop will turn purple, which means you can't use it again. Immediately anyway. From what I've found, although I haven't actually timed it, it seems like it takes about 5 minutes before it completely resets and you can use it again. Occasionally when trying to use a Pokestop, it may tell you to try again. I'm not quite sure why this happens. It may just have something to do with the server or some bug that they need to work out. However, you just kinda have to try again. Sometimes, along your adventures, you may come across a Pokestop that has cherry blossom leaves floating around it. This means that someone put a lure module onto it. If you happen to see a Pokestop or many Pokestops with many lures on them, it's definitely recommended to walk over and check it out. Chances are there's probably people over there playing, waiting to catch something good. A lot of fun things have happened at lures for me, such as catching rare Pokemon, meeting new people, and even learning new things. Once you reach level 5, you'll be able to compete in gyms. A gym will be either colored red, blue, or yellow, or possibly even white if nobody owns it. You'll also know that you see a gym on the map because it'll have a Pokemon floating above it if someone owns it. When you finally turn level 5, and you're nearby one, click on it. Professor Willow will then prompt you to choose a team. There are 3 different teams to choose from, each with their own specific mindset. Don't just choose a team based on its color, choose the team whose mindset resonates best with you. Once you've chosen a team, you can then battle a gym if it's an opposing color. Just click on the gym, and from there you'll see the name of the gym, as well as what level it is. The level of a gym is decided by how many Pokemon you will have to battle in order to overthrow it. The most I've ever seen inside of a gym was a level 11. To battle, just click on the icon on the right hand side. From there, you'll be able to choose your team of Pokemon that you want to use. By clicking on one of the 6 Pokemon that you see in your team, you'll be able to choose a different one. The one you click is the one that will be replaced by the one you choose after that. Now you're ready to battle. Once the battle begins, you have 3 different moves. Tapping the screen will execute a normal attack. Swiping left or right will cause you to dodge, which is great if you want to get away from their attack. When an opponent is about to attack, the screen will flash yellow. This is a perfect time to dodge. Connecting enough successful attacks will cause the blue bar up in the top left corner to rise all the way up until it pulsates. Once it does that, all you have to do is hold your finger on the screen to execute that special attack. Once the opponent's life points have drained all the way to 0, you will have won, and then it's on to the next opponent. Each time you beat all of the people in the gym, the bottom one will always be knocked out. So for example, if there's 3 people holding down that gym, you'll have to battle it 3 times in order to take it over. Once you take it over, the gym color will go back to white, and you'll be able to add your own Pokemon. I highly recommend putting your strongest one in, because as I said before, the more Pokemon you have defending gyms, the bigger bonus you get from that shield inside of the shop. Now let's say your team owns the gym. Instead of battling, you'll be given 2 options. You'll either be able to put your own Pokemon in, or you can train to make the gym stronger. Each time you win a battle there, it gives it more experience points. If you get enough experience points into that gym, which is called prestiging, you will have made it strong enough to put your own Pokemon in. You've just learned all the basic operations to go on adventures every single day. Thank you so much for watching this video and learning. I hope you gained a lot of information that helps you in the future. Tell me in the comments section below which item of information you found to be the most helpful, or even any questions you might still have. And as always, happy hunting! If you're ready to learn some pro tips and advanced techniques like how to throw a curveball, then click on this video right here. We've covered so many topics on this channel already, but maybe we haven't covered one that you'd like to see. Leave me a comment in the section below and let me know what kind of stuff you want to see now on DTV.
You're watching Dynamite TV. And as always, thanks for watching.